remember how to do that. There it is. Transition.
I think we transitioned.
Whoops.
I love it. Look at these beautiful faces.
Right.
These just wonderful people.
Such wonderful people.
I just realized that I didn't have that unmuted, so I was hearing an echo. Yep.
Yeah.
We're so professional here.
Yeah.
Hi out
Fun.
there. What?
On.
You're good.
So, in true Gamers for Peace fashion, we're getting food deliveries, and it's time to start this Friday off with our regularly scheduled military ad slam. You know, it's what we do. Hey, Social Scrum Mark, good to see you.
Yeah, good to see you again.
We are here. Without further ado, there's Yarby. Okay, cool. I was just vamping very poorly until you came back. So I could actually lead us into hi and welcome to Gamers for Peace. I'm your host, Sincerely B, with our tech guru, Haas. Haas is gonna wave. And our panelist, regularly scheduled funny man, Yarby, up on my screen, below, someplace. This is the Friday ad slam, and we got some interesting content today. So I'm just going to lead us into a question. I'm going to pose a question to fellow panelists.
Mm-hmm.
Are game reviews and similarly community created content military propaganda?
I mean, like we've already made video games to make like war kind of mainstream and stuff because it's, you know, the most vicious way of it's us versus them kind of thing. So I think it can be considered military propaganda. And then I guess it really depends on, if it just how accurate too it is with, because I know sometimes they're like, oh, let's get into like trying to find out, you know, how the military does it and try to make a realistic war game or something, you know, like, so I could see that kind of being like, yeah, if they worked hand in hand with like the military to try to make it more realistic.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, especially things with like Battlefield.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, because on top of that, it's like they still do the false reality of what war actually is, because it's a lot slower than people think. It's not fast action pace. It's like, no, war is boring. Like,
so we have the military and entertainment complex, which we talked about a lot before.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's a secondary market that occurs, right? We're even part of, because we sit here and talk about these games. So I want to ask Haas to start off our first video.
Let's throw it over.
And let's see what's going on.
Okay, do we want to do any kind of leader intro or just throw them on into it?
So let's this is America's Army 3.
Oh, this game. Got it.
This game, right? So I just wanted to throw it out there and then talk about what America's Army is and see if we can pick up on some things that are said in here.
Got it.
You know.
Raise your right hand and repeat after me.
America's Army 3 is the newest game in the series of online multiplayer first-person shooters for the PC put out by the actual US Army. The game serves as a recruiting tool for sure, but aside from a few Army posters popping up here and there, there's very little hard selling going on in the game. Instead, the Army lets the ultra-realistic gameplay speak for itself. America's Army starts you off in basic training, where you'll have an assortment of challenges to pass that include obstacle courses, weapons training, and a basic first aid course. While the basic training is optional, players who conclude the training are awarded a better scope in the multiplayer arenas and access to better gear. However, even though the game was released in June, there are still some training.
I hear someone say something.
I saw Yarby's face and not a sound came out. So
it's just like, okay, so it's like they let their ultra realistic gameplay speak for itself, and it shows a guy ragdolling back like that's what guns do, and it's like, no, that's not what happens at all. You know, like that's it's ultra realistic. No, that's just ragdoll effects. Every game has that.
Yeah, ultra realistic for a game made in 09 and 010 that plays like a Gary's mod.
Yeah.
I love the opening of this was designed by the Army as a recruiting tool, but it's a fun game.
I also love that it's not a hard sell while he goes through the menu options of how to link to Army careers.
Not only that, but there was like they had the whole thing where it was like I saw an abbreviation. Apparently, it deals with stats or something, but it was like almost leadership. Yeah, where it's just like, oh, they're already getting them used to abbreviations. Look at it, you know, like because you know how the military loves their abbreviations. Mm-hmm. Again, god damn, fucking, it's all foobarred.
Now that you're MOS qualified as an 11B infantryman, you can pursue a career refining your skills in your chosen specialty, or running your skills through other specialties and secondary MOSs. And they take you through how to level up in the Army.
Do I get to choose my class when I join the Army too?
Like,
I don't know.
No.
Like, now here's my question.
Okay.
If I play this game and get a high enough stats, do I still have to take the ASVAB? Like, or do I just like come balls in, just like, nope, you already got this. You're a lieutenant now. Like,
yeah, sorry, I don't need basic training. I did it in America's Army 3.
Yeah, I did 2 tours in America's Army 3. Like
all right.
Oh god. So dumb.
Let's keep going through it.
Let's go ahead. Keep going.
This is the tame one in compared to the next
training
one.
missions that are available give you a nice feel for the game mechanics, including a few of its annoyances, such as the all too common occurrences of being stuck on objects and the sprint button not responding. Each training exercise has different levels of completion.
Can you imagine if that was real life?
Better equipment.
If you couldn't like sprint,
can be quite difficult to obtain the expert.
You're like, all right, you better run, sucker. You're like,
contribute to this problem as well.
I only take like one step fast, and I gotta walk
against the clock to clear rooms full of cardboard bad guys. Never in the instructions does it tell the player that the clock will stop once they clear a room, and as such, during my first few run-throughs, I found myself racing against a clock in parts where it wasn't even ticking.
It sounds like a
causing
tip
myself
that he's
to have
given.
very sloppy runs. In another quote-unquote exercise, you're forced to sit through a class on how to give first aid to teammates. This basically amounts to hitting the spacebar while looking at the dummy, although there is a twist.
That might be the most realistic part of this game.
Diagnose. But there are only 4 of these, and it's quite easy to remember what tool cures what. The real meat of the game, however, is the multiplayer mode. Unlike most first-person shooters, America's Army doesn't have any free-for-all modes, and this makes sense considering the focus of the game is to promote teamwork. In fact, the game gives more points for working with your squad.
Oh, you just flagged your buddy!
With the different modes in the game, you will often find yourself securing or defending locations, escorting VIPs, activating objective points, or just straight up team deathmatch. In the online modes, the Army has gone to great lengths to making the combat feel as real as possible. If you die, you're out for the rest of the match. It may sound harsh, and it definitely can feel that way when you get knocked out quickly, but it's realistic, and it quickly teaches every Call of Duty or Halo player that they can't just go running around in the open without facing consequences. In addition, the medical training you received if you did the basic training comes in handy as you're able to heal fallen teammates on the battlefield. And for the ones who are more critically injured, the full training comes into effect as you have to remember the symptoms and the cures to revive your brothers in arms. The graphics in America's Army leave something to be desired, as it's not nearly as crisp.
It sounds like it all sounds go.
It like I'm sorry, but like the whole thing where it's just like, yeah, you know, the big difference between this game and other games is there's no respawn. It's like, okay, that's you took away a mechanic. Like
the other games have that as a game mode.
This game, the Army has gone through great lengths. Like this guy has pointed back to the Army's involvement in designing this game as a training and recruitment aid repeatedly throughout this, and how realistic it is to combat. Yeah, go ahead.
Coming from the gaming side, I'm not gonna lie, I actually like the first aid part, you need to incorporate that training into respawning buddies instead of just left clicking. But it is a gross oversimplification of medic aid. Of I choose one of four.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you got to choose the proper tool.
Yeah.
And you got to find out their symptoms and everything and blah, blah. It's like, you don't get the trauma of having the blood of your buddies, blood on your hands to be like, all right, I got to figure out where's the wound at, like it's
Yeah, it's completely different.
Yeah, it's one of those things where I feel like they're trying to make it seem like it's like, oh yeah, look, it's like a game. If you think of it that way, maybe you'll come back not messed up.
And this is a big, kind of a little bit of a spoiler alert for the next video, but this guy does it in a very calm tone, explaining these things, almost like he's being a professional reviewer and trying to build that credibility. But
then he's reviewing America's Army 3.
Well, at the end of this, I think it really comes tumbling down about how much he was incentivized to give this a good score, despite railing against all these bad parts of it.
Yeah, I like it. He's like missions.
Yeah.
Quote unquote missions.
Well, let's see what this guy has to
Other
say
first-person
score-wise
shooters.
about America's
And
Army
the game
3.
mechanics can be a bit buggy at times, but the sound design is spot on, and the crack from an M16 can be heard across the map with startling clarity. And despite any shortcomings, the price is right. It's free. That's right, absolutely free. So if you're tired of the guy you just killed respawning right behind you and getting a completely lame kill, America's Army is right up your alley. With a realistic combat simulation and complete multiplayer experience, America's Army can't be beat for the price
we're
or
almost
lack
done.
thereof, and I'm giving it a solid 4 out of 5.
All right, what do you got?
Who is it? He was just talking about it where he was like, even though it's buggy at time, it's free. Absolutely free. It's like that's the main selling point. It's like, hey, it's free, blah blah. It's like, and it's made by the Army, and then the Army can come in and be like, hey, did you like that free game? You want to do that in real life? We'll give you money. It's absolutely free. We pay you.
Yeah. The best part is that it is free on PC, on Steam, but they absolutely charged for consoles.
Mm-hmm.
These were $60 games at release on consoles. At least the most recent one, Proving Ground, was.
I remember like the original stuff, like Full Spectrum Warrior and close quarters or close combat, Proving Grounds, the Marine Corps one, Guys in Half Dress Blues. They were at rentals. You could go to like Blockbuster and pay to rent them because that's when they were first coming out. And like they were absolutely $30, $40, $50 even then at that point,
But yeah, here's the part that really drives me crazy. It's game-breaking bugs. You can't finish climbing ladders. You can't sprint at times. Graphics aren't up to par for a 2010 game. No officially hosted servers. It's just all fan servers. And we got a 4 out of 5 because it's free. You can't beat that price.
It's free.
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 Hold on real quick.
Free.
So yeah, that's pretty much this one. As far as I know, this game did not actually go down that well review-wise. I don't think any of the America's Army has. The next one we're going to cover, Proving Ground, I actually tried to go into a GameStop and buy back before I had a PC and was Xbox, and the GameStop guy was like, "You don't want to buy this. It's not worth the money. It's bad. They've always been bad."
Yeah. I remember they used to like send out the CDs and stuff with the game back in the day, trying to like recruit people and stuff. Because like the recruiters had them whenever I was like in the military and stuff, and they're like, "You want to try this game out? It's just a pretty cool game. It's kind of like Call of Duty," and I played it. I was like, "This is garbage."
So we have the next video of being Proving Ground, the game that came after America's Army 3.
Yeah, and one open, you're right. Yeah, you can totally respawn in real life. You just gotta wait for the next round, just like this.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. So now, this one annoys me a lot. Mostly just this guy. But I'm gonna try to keep that out of a lot of my criticism.
My name is Pone. This is America's Army Proving Grounds. And I'm sure you're asking yourself, what is AA Proving Ground? And the answer to that one is simple. One of the best things you can possibly have in your Steam library. I'd rate this game a solid 8, 8.5 out of 10. To gauge my kind of judging scale, the only 10 that I can think of is probably Oblivion and Halo 2. Unreal's up there at around a 9. The original America's Army is at about a 9. Battlefield Bad Company 2 is about an 8, 8.5. Battlefield 3,
The original Unreal was a
7.5.
9.
COD Black Ops 2, 6.5. So when I rate this game an 8, what I'm trying to say
It's weird to give a rating
is,
for Bad
just
Company
summarize
2,
this as
but
best
not
as
the
possible.
original Bad Company,
It's
which
about the
was
time
better.
of the year where I tell you guys and review some
What
videos.
was it? I didn't
and
actually
games
play the
and tell
first
you,
Bad
oh,
Company.
this is a good game to hold you
Played
over
the second
until
one.
the next Call of Duty or the next Battlefield or the next whatever comes out. This is a game that should be played alongside of those. This is a game that you should give a chance and that you should definitely heavily consider adding. Because it has
they're on
one
there.
fine aspect that gaming has lost over the years, and that's the tactical public aspect. Games nowadays like Battlefield and Call of Duty are great for what they are. And that is just mindlessly just farting ahead, not worrying about anything, playing selfishly, building for streaks, doing this stuff.
You look like the editor from
So,
Spider-Man.
I heard something.
You've gotten so great.
I'm trying to figure out why there's this like the selling point is its tactical realism and its slow bad level design in a hospital.
Why is a level a hospital?
Because, we bomb the shit out of hospitals.
Yeah.
It seems like the most logical place to be having a war, right? In a hospital.
Yeah, and you'll see it a little later, but it's interesting that one of the game's modes is like an extract the flag. Like a guy just has a flag rolled up on his back, and that flag carrier has to make it to the inn. That's what you saw with him walking through that sign at the front door. I was like, that's not really realism. Why would you ever do that?
No.
But I'm also taking notes for something he says later on, just with his own video evidence to prove it wrong.
And I'm sorry, guys. My brother right now just found out I posted up headshots, and him and my siblings are making fun of him right now. They're saying that I look like that it looks like I'm a young guy asking for pictures of Spider-Man or something,
Okay.
You
really do.
Jonah Jameson, yeah.
Yeah.
Don't agree with him.
If you grow in the mustache, you get like an extra
I need
giveaway
pictures of
raffle.
Spider-Man. Do we have a filter for that on this?
Probably. I'm sure you could find it. All
Ugh.
right, let's keep
There
going.
we go.
But you don't
All right,
have
let's
to
keep
think
going.
before you act. You just do. This game makes
Yeah,
you
see,
think.
he just has a
'cause if
flag
you
on his
don't,
back.
Hey, bro,
How's
you
that a
have.
mission?
And no one wants to be dead.
Stop pointing your gun right in his back.
I'm going to talk a little bit about the game, as well as my history. If it was not for the original America's Army, I would have never played Call of Duty or Battlefield or any of the other modern shooters. It was the first game that I ever took, I guess,
Whenever they do,
into a competitive nature. I did play it competitively. I played a
Wheelchairs.
lot of it. I
Real
played
pro
a
cover.
whole lot of it. And just from jumping in this game, it's bringing me back. Now, the last two titles for America's Army were not that good. So I was kind of hesitant about this one. I was expecting to be disappointed. No.
And then they gave
Nah,
him money.
Not having it. This game is incredible. It is a free-to-play available on Steam. Put it in your library because it deserves to be there. I would generally say that this game is simple. Now, for most games, I would say this is simple, but that's what they're aiming for. That's what they're going for. There are 4 weapons total with about 2 scopes you can use. This game is not about
is that
flash.
good?
It's not about sex appeal or how many things you can add to it to make it look cool and better than the last year's. It's not about that.
That's
It's
how
about
realistic
staying
they
true
are.
to what the game is
They
meant to
only
be,
give
and
you
it's
so
supposed to be
much
tactical,
equipment. It
skillful,
is never the
and
best.
You need
You're always
a
using
bit
the
of
same
synergy.
equipment.
You need communication and teamwork. You can see
So,
exactly
can
right
we pause
here.
real quick?
Call of Duty
Sure.
and Battlefield, I don't.
So he's talking about the like there's no sex appeal or any of that at all. Then why would any consumer want to play this game?
Yeah.
Like for what purpose does this serve? If it doesn't visually appeal to the gamer to play, if its gameplay sucks, it's not diverse, and it's repetitive, that's like, then what am I playing this game for?
You're playing it because I'm saying it's an 8.
Because it's an 8, a solid 8.5, 8.5.
It's solid 8.5. I almost gave it a 9 almost, but then they didn't pay me that extra 500. You know, like
I said, hold up, this
Hold
isn't
up.
bad company.
yeah, come on.
Not bad company too. All right, like, so also there. Actually, I'm gonna save the second point because I know it's coming up in a moment.
Okay.
But
I don't run around every corner then naturally ADS. I don't just aim down sight. You do that in this game. You got to pay attention to where things are. You got to communicate, and that is something that is built into the game as well. And
So he says he goes slowly around corners. He uses ADS in the same frame where he's just running, looking around corners without ADSing.
it's not you
It's all
stand and
about
run into an
communication.
Xbox Live lobby with 12 kids quick scoping, just dicking around. You don't have that. You get into a game, you're going to hear people playing tactically. I'm smoking this. Cover
is
me.
that why
I
you're
need to go
getting
revive this guy. Can you cover,
flashbanged by your
suppress fire?
teammates?
You see that stuff.
Right.
These guys actually play like that. So the community itself is great. It is very similar to how the old Battlefield community used to be, kind of elitist, kind of not wanting kids to mess around. But at the end of the day, it's a solid game. They will come. And it's something that you're going to have to deal with and acknowledge. The game itself handles great. Visually, it's impressive. It's built on the Unreal Engine. It looks pretty damn good for a free-to-play. It holds its own. It runs smooth.
played
I've not had any
cell phone
lag, any sort
first-person
of issues
shooters
at all
that
for
look
being a
better than
beta.
that.
It's running to the
On a
extent that
Nokia.
a full title release
Call
should
of Duty
be.
mobile game.
If given the opportunity and this game was actually $60, I would definitely put the $60 forward.
No,
I would probably
I wouldn't.
give up
No,
getting
I was
Ghosts or
actively
something
told
for
not
this
to.
game. And
Yeah.
like I said, the
I
tactical
was
edge
one of
is
those
something that
people
has
that
been
tried
missing
to.
from shooters nowadays. This game is kind of a happy medium between Battlefield and Arma. Now, this game is built where it's on the round system, where basically you have one life to live, you die, you
his
risk
next
not being able to
suggestion,
come
his
back in. One thing
upgrade
that they have
is
added
Arma,
from my previous experience
which
with
is
the original
what the
American Army is
military
the fact that you
training
can
games were
revive people.
built on
Now,
and out of.
there are two things, I guess, rotate.
That was that. Yeah. Having played Arma, this plays nothing like Arma.
Yeah.
In no way. Also, I think it's very telling that he has played on one map this entire video to really breathe into the diversity that this game's going to give you as a gameplay experience.
No, that it seems like he kind of just played one round and he's just taking clips of it and just being like, all right, that's good enough. And I'll just talk good about it and I'll get paid.
Yeah.
That's what it seems like to me.
Sin, have we got to the part that you wanted to speak at yet, or do you want to keep going?
We're about to come up to it.
Okay.
Getting around the idea of reviving. One of which
Nice
you're
ADSing,
vulnerable
by
when
the
you
way, aiming
revive,
down the
but you
sights.
bring your teammates back and you can fight up. Also, you're seeing me patty cake this guy right now. Yeah, I'm calling it the patty
You
cake. 'cause
patty
I'm
caked
old
a
school
bitch.
Battlefield. I have to bandage myself. The bleed out feature is here, and if I have not bandaged myself right there, I would have bled out and died. This guy right here is securing that body. He was not touching him, and I would not watch
All right.
that normally. So.
Can we talk about rendering aid
Mhm.
and how similar that is to what we see in like violence on our streets with police involved incidents against unarmed civilians, and how they treat the victim of gunshot wounds or failure to render aid, handcuffing bodies. I'm pretty sure Geneva Convention or ROEs, at least back in the day, there were certain things about rendering aid after combat or after cessation. There's no thought to the civilians caught inside of a hospital or anything. This is a straight paintball remake that is taking place inside a civilian building, and there is no application of any thought about what's going on in this. It's just straight desensitization to pointing and clicking, and the intellectualization of combat in mount terrain settings, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's interesting to actually see them regress from what we saw in America's Armies 3, where there was at least you had to choose one of 4 options. This, it's
Yeah.
just pull out the Band-Aid, slap it on, you're good, get back in there.
Yeah. And well, it's because they realized because again, it has no real sex appeal, because they're like, oh, they're trying to make you used to some things in the military, but at the same time, they still want you to like, so they focused on the gameplay of it and they got rid of that mechanic, and that's one of the things where it's just like, oh, okay, cool. So you're gonna focus on the murder aspect of it. Got it. To be like, yeah. So I don't know. It's such a weird thing to see right then and there, because like at the same time, it's like freaking there. It's all you would think they would have some diversity of location right now, because like this is all American building.
Mhm.
Like we don't do anything in America or in this type of building. So what are they trying to say here in this kind of thing too? See what I mean?
Yeah, the map location entirely doesn't come down to anything conductive or productive at all. It's weird to be in an American hospital, and since there are only 4 guns in the game, I'm guessing it's America's Army against America's Army.
Yeah.
A training sim.
Training sim, yeah. It's technically a training simulator.
Yeah.
So I don't know, man. It's fucking weird. So
Sin, did you have anything else you wanted to add?
No. I wanted to point out just the treatment of
Yeah.
What's going on.
Yeah, because even
that emphasis.
We've seen it a couple times. But whenever they shoot and down someone, I should not say shoot to down. They just handcuff them and go on.
mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah.
Which
Understand.
That sounded like something was going to be added.
Yep. Which, by the way, it's like, you were right about the Geneva Convention thing. By the way, you got to render aid afterwards, and like, because I remember it was like anytime we had detainees and stuff, a lot of them already had been taken care of as soon as they got, like, if they were injured, So then they don't show any of that in this.
Yeah, and they're not trying to secure rooms or anything like that. It's almost like Counter-Strike, where you're just trying to get to the end, get to the point.
Exactly.
That this game has that tactical edge where these guys watch the corners, they work together, they move out together. You need the buddy system. You need
You
to
just
roll
watched
in
your guy
together,
run out alone.
because if you don't, you're going to be dead. And that's one of the things you have to worry about. For example, what he should have done right there, he should have secured my body so I could have been revived, and then he should have went back out
was
there.
for hire.
Because as long as you're still on the map and nobody has secured your body, you're still eligible to be revived. Short of a headshot, and I think you could be revived twice in one round, so technically 3 lives in a round if you've been revived twice, and counting your original starting life. So this game does have that solid edge. It does have the competitive nature. Things like, for example, Battlefield, if it had the one headshot thing rule where if somebody got a headshot they couldn't be revived, there's just little things about this game that give it this kind of edge that I think put it well ahead of its time. This game was originally created as a recruitment tool for the U.S. Army. That's what this game was meant for. Never in a million years had I thought a free-to-play game, just with that kind of selfish purpose, would have actually become one of the most important and most impacting FPSs in my life. And I am proud of them with this title. It still has that competitive nature. It still has the
training
fact that you
tool
need
that
to
the
roll out as
military
teamwork.
uses
It still
that was
means
selflessly
you
made
have to
and
communicate.
ported
Can
at
you
a
play by
$60
yourself?
cost
Yeah, but
to
you also have the
civilians to
ability
be able
to
to
talk in
play
the game and
was
communicate with your
completely
friends. So never
selfless.
ever do you feel like you're alone when you're playing. Lone
No-
wolf
no
does
other
not pay off.
purpose
You
in-
can't just
in that.
carelessly rush in there. Now I do play a little bit more aggressive now that I'm used to the maps and everything like that. You're going to see more gameplay from me. This game is going to have a permanent spot on this channel. So when I speak highly of this game, it's because I have an emotional background with this game. It's because it's the game that got me into FPSs. Modern FPS.
I don't think I actually
played
made it this
Unreal
far
as my
in the
original
video.
FPS.
Otherwise, I would have checked the server
went
to
into
see how
Halo.
long he did post.
This
Proving
game
Ground
kind of got
content.
me into games like Call of Duty and Battlefield. And it's well deserved. It is that good of a
This
game.
game
and the fact
got
that it's
me
a
into
free-to-play
it.
blows my mind. So, if you want to try it out, like I said, it is free to play. You can pick it up on Steam. I will definitely be teaching you guys a little bit more about these. Like I said, there are only 4 guns with a couple attachments apiece. The game is simple. It's not meant to be flashy or appealing or anything like that. What makes this game stand out
It's
from
not
the other
meant to
ones
be
is the fact that
appealing.
you need to play tactical and you need teamwork.
It's a acquired
No other
taste.
FPS out there offers that in a standard public game. Competitive, yeah, you can add competitive to these other titles. But every public game, look at this guy. He's going to revive me while the other guy steps out and covers me. Now that is what I'm talking about. You don't deal with that in these other shooters. So that's
Yeah,
what
you
I'm
do.
offering
Yeah, you
for
do.
you guys today,
Yeah.
is a suggestion. Now with the revival
Count
of
the
this
number of
show,
times that happened
I
in
wanted you guys
Battlefield
to
3 or
just
4 or any of the
experience
armies.
exactly what this is, and I couldn't be happier with this title. So I would recommend you guys to check it out yourselves, play it with me, join the TeamSpeak, have some fun. Hopefully you've enjoyed the gameplay, many more to come. Thanks for all the support. Click that like button as it
Roger,
does help
Wilco.
out a lot. This game needs to be out there a little bit more in my opinion. Hold that, Mr. Grenade! Oh yeah, I'll kill us both. Why not? Ha! Ow, hooah!
Ugh.
Oh. Oh,
Ugh.
Right.
Ugh. I almost threw up when he said that.
yeah.
It's
Oh, kill us both.
Like I couldn't play
yeah.
that game because every single time at the end of the round, it'd be like, whoo, and it'd be like, oh, oh.
done with it. Cannot.
That was straight garbage. Like the dude clearly, this got me into first-person shooters. Mm-hmm. And yet you're.
So, like, how often do we think that these like game reviews of straight titles that are used for attached to the military,
What is
like
it that we
how often are those
Nope.
direct contributions or direct commercials, ads to help spread that and get more people? I wonder what the DoD's budget is spending on for game reviews of America's Army.
I feel like these weren't that successful. Because I think, like even he points out, it's simple. It doesn't have the shock factor or appeal. You're only gonna get a lot of older, hardcore tactical gamers in that. The people that wouldn't enlist
Yeah.
anyway or couldn't physically. And I think they saw that from these 4 games they've made: America's Army 1, a remake of the first one, 3, Proving Grounds, and the 5th one now in development. I think they
Well-
saw that, and that's why they've shifted course so heavily to just other content and Twitch streamers with that. Because none of these blew up
Yeah.
or were mainstay games.
This is what I'm thinking too. Is like I think they might be doing it like I'm pretty sure they just give them a link, right? And then if someone clicks on it and downloads the game, the reviewer gets paid
Probably. Yeah.
probably like cents on the dollar or something. So that's probably what happened.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, some kind of reference bonus. Sure.
Mhm. So, content. Or do we see similarities between like America's Army and the popularity of like Escape from Tarkov, with just an expansion on the first aid mechanics that you were talking about? Because there's the whole aspirin, water, no instructions, no HUD.
Mm-hmm.
Is it just a spiritual? Is that the 2020 or 2019 outgrowth of Proving Grounds, and then other games filling that same spot coming in the future?
To say this game really had any major impact on the gaming community, I would say is incredibly generous. I think everything about this took from other more mainstay games and tried to bring it to the Army and their limited realism. I think the first aid things in Escape from Tarkov or any of the battle royales where it came with like aspirin and water to just as your painkillers came from a desire for a little more complex of a healing mechanism than just wait and you'll heal, but still not wanting that full realism of this is how you recover from an injury.
Mm-hmm.
yeah. And I think it's mainly to like they already had like first aid mechanics in other games before.
Mhm.
I mean, like look at freaking Fallout, like the original Fallout. Like you had limbs and stuff already that would be like, oh, that's broken. You would have to use stim packs for whatever limb you had, and that's Fallout is like so old. It's before I was born.
Yeah,
Kind of
just as a game
right.
design
No, I don't
mechanic.
think so.
Yeah. First Fallout I want to say was 98. I could be wrong.
Yeah. Oh, then I was born by then. I was 89. That's right. I'm an old fuck
So
now.
I'll switch to the other. Fallout 1, not Fallout 4. That's not what I typed.
Yep. No.
97 was the first Fallout.
97. See, yeah. 97.
But in those games, did it create the cascading event that I've seen that occurs inside of like Escape from Tarkov, where it's like too much aspirin triggers. Now you need water, you become dehydrated, you get adverse effects from your healing mechanisms. And then you have to drink water, but there's no instruction about that.
Yeah.
So it's kind of it's like a self-teaching tool, kind of like Valheim or Minecraft, but only solely like where it's teaching certain functions, like executive functions, to like here's the order of operations of doing things in a self-teaching environment that's self-reinforcing, but it's doing it in an FPS around war.
Yeah,
like as an at-home training element.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
I think it's just the evolution of a game mechanic. Do you feel like that comes back to the military outside of just this America's Army? Is self-training, kind of learn at home, getting prepared more for the military, and when you enlist, is that something you see or have seen?
I don't know. I'm curious about links between like why, but beyond just a recruiting tool that is just straight propaganda. The thing that they keep stressing inside these reviews is that these are training, like to explicitly teach behaviors and for military members that are in service to train to go overseas and operate on. So there has to be some sort of forethought to what the lesson is specifically, and that they're trying to port out to a civilian population.
I think in terms of the gaming industry as a whole, I don't believe they're meant to be simulations. I can kind of see the underhanded tactic of where they're just assuming that you don't think it's a simulation, but it can be taken as that. I think in this specific America's Army franchise, they really look to copying those, saying it's simulation, in an attempt to dupe and make people think that it's fun, fast-paced, have your options, quick 15-minute rounds, if even that.
Yeah.
So I think in this specific case, I agree it's purposeful, but I think in the general gaming industry, I would have to disagree.
That makes sense.
And not only that, I think like a game like this also gives the gaming industry a bad name as well. Because like if you think back to like the 90s and early 2000s, you think about all these, like that lawyer that would always be like, oh, video game violence is the cause for real life violence, This America's Army game, all it's literally doing is just taking from other games and being like, oh, because that's like our thing, war is our thing, right? And then they're like, oh, it's a simulation, and it like they're using it as a recruiting tool to recruit people to go to war, which is like, I can't think of anything more violent than war, which it gives like these people causes to be like, yep, see, video games do cause real life violence. Look, it caused my nephew to join the military, go to war. And it's like, no, that was the Army using underhanded tactics, and how they put the wording now makes it seem like that's the case. So, because that's the thing, is they've done studies of like showing that video games help alleviate stress and make people less violent because you're alleviating that stress.
It's an outlet,
you know, it's an outlet.
Sublimation, I think is the term.
Yes, that's it. I'm not a man of big words. I just, no, I just kind of know what I'm talking about. That's all.
So we have 15 minutes left. We can go. We have additional actual ads from the Air Force and the Army if we want to get to those, or if we want to keep on the discussion about this.
I think I'm down to move on. Any other thoughts about America's Army as a recruiting training sim tool thing?
I think it's a horrible game. I think the game itself is a joke, and I think it's a waste of recruiting money.
Yeah, and they're making a 5th one right now. It started development in 2018. Supposed to take 3 years time to develop. So hey, maybe sometime this year, the next one, we'll see America's Army 5.
Who's the developer
who knows?
For that? Let's see.
Did they have like an E3 trailer?
No, they didn't have an E3 trailer. It's going to be on Unreal Engine 4 is expected. I don't know what. Composer, developers, United States Army. It's their own
In-house
studio.
development.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Man, I wish I would have got that MOS.
Nope.
All right. Well, let's switch gears a little bit to a pretty short, older Army commercial. This is about as cheesy as you can get.
Let's do this.
30 seconds long.
You're reaching deep inside you. Go! For things you've never known. It's been tough, rough going, but you haven't gone alone.
We do more before 9 a.m.
Is it the bad resolution that's killing you, Arby?
All that you can.
Hey, First Sergeant. Good morning.
You can do it in the Army.
So, by 9 a.m.,
Yeah.
we have illegally invaded more countries, sovereign nations, and done more destruction to their infrastructure than you have done in your own home.
By 9 a.m., we've waited around 6 hours more than you have.
Yeah, exactly. No, that's pretty much my day-to-day thing. It was like, all right, everybody, wake up at 6. Then 9 a.m. rolls around, and it's like, all right, we're still in the same place we were at 3 hours ago. So,
Stand by. Stand by.
I like the catchy tune. That really had the 80s.
Dude, I thought it was like a
Folgers
Folgers commercial, like.
I thought it was going to start Full House.
They ended with the coffee. It could have been the 2-for-1 coffee out of your
Good morning,
cup.
Sergeant.
Good morning, First Sergeant.
Do you start off with a little bit of hua in your cup? Like. Jesus Christ, so dumb.
It seemed like a weird mix between a late 80s, early 90s sitcom and a G.I. Joe commercial.
Oh yeah, right.
The only thing I didn't see was like the calf high socks and the short Ranger shorts in this, to bring it completely home.
Yeah. All right. Now we got a 50-second U.S. Air Force commercial. This one was much newer. This one's from 2014.
America's future will be determined by your dreams and your visions.
First time watching.
For some of you will travel
immediately made me hostile to this
where no man has ever traveled before. Some of you will fly the fastest planes that have ever been built. Reach the highest altitude.
All the rest of you will just be standing around.
Whether you serve in the skies above or on the ground below, each of you has stepped forward to defend your country.
The American people support you. They are counting on you.
To invade other countries.
And they believe you truly do represent the best of America.
Aim high.
I love when they're like they represent the best in America, and then it's like if you track most veterans that get out of the military, a lot of them end up getting arrested.
Sorry, I thought I paused that from starting.
The houseless rates.
Homelessness.
You know, military recruiters are amongst the highest military recruiters are amongst the highest suicide rates amongst veterans, which veterans have an overwhelming, have an extremely high number of veterans lost per day due to self-unlifing. Right. Like they don't talk, they call the service members best and the brightest of what the nation has to offer, but most of these people were forced to come in here off the economic draft. Right.
Yeah.
I would say maybe the Air Force pilots are probably an exception to that. At least from the outside perspective, they seem very elitist. Now the people servicing the planes and the paratroopers, absolutely.
Yeah.
But the appeal is to everybody that's coming in off that economic draft. The appeal is that you have the chance to fly a jet. You have the chance to fly a Super Cobra helicopter, whatever.
But
right?
You better hope you get a letter from your governor to get admittance to the flight school.
Yep.
Yeah, I found it interesting using Reagan, Kennedy, and Bush Jr. as the three presidents to speak.
Clinton was in there too.
Oh, there was a little bit.
Yeah,
of
Clinton at the end. At the end,
they did that one out of order, and it threw me off.
It's it's interesting that they do have Democrats and Republicans.
Yeah,
equally represented.
Yet Obama had been president for 6 years when this came out.
Well, they couldn't use that because people were still trying to, get comfortable because he was black.
Yeah.
Like, let's be honest. There's a lot of upper echelon white people that were like, did this just happen?
Mm-hmm.
Did this just happen? Like,
all right. Another one, Born to Fly. The Foo Fighters had no involvement in this. They're too busy fighting foos, fighting the good fight.
Fighting the good fight.
If you ever get the chance, watch the music video for Pretender. It is against police brutality. Heritage today. Heritage is an interesting word.
It's been said.
And then a heritage, and then a straight shot to biplanes.
We would have been born with wings.
Oh, they reference World War I in this.
Maybe so. But some of us were born to do nothing else. Whether we're sitting behind the stick, calling the shots from the back, or in the belly of the plane with our finger on the button.
Was that a full, walrus mustache he had?
Without equal.
It did not look like it was in rights.
Not a brag, not at all.
Bragging, it is.
Wait, why are you popping flares?
Every time we put on that flight suit, we join a long line of heroes with names like Doolittle, Olds, and Saigon. We fought over the hills of San Miguel in France and over the sands of Iraq. During the Cold War, we flew around the clock carrying
Desert Shield and
warheads,
World War I.
prepared to do the unthinkable if we had to.
Yeah, I know. Like,
we've broken every barrier put before us.
What about Vietnam?
And we'll keep breaking.
Yeah. Would you all do that?
They always skip that one.
I love how they go to the Tuskegee. Was that the Tuskegee Airmen that they had there? They're like, we've broken every barrier. These men had to deal with so much fucking torture and racism and shit from the military, dude. From this shit,
we made sure that they got through adversity that you caused.
Yeah.
Hey, oh god, that was.
Is it the I think was it the Tuskegee experiment where they infected the population with an untreated syphilis to determine that? Is that the Tuskegee experiment?
Yep.
I was having trouble.
Involved 500 black men, 399 with syphilis, 300 that did not. Participants' informed consent was not collected. They were being treated for bad blood.
Oh, they had the cure, but held it for research purposes. That's what someone's saying in the chat.
Yeah.
Yep.
Because I believe penicillin's used to cure it.
I believe you're correct. Recently saw a documentary that Blackbeard tried to treat it with liquid mercury. Like at the time of Blackbeard, that's how it was treated.
Yeah, liquid mercury was treated for quite a bit. I mean, people also used bleach to white their teeth.
Mm-hmm. It wasn't smart, but like the Tuskegee experiment, they had the actual treatment, intentionally withheld like informed consent to participate in the study or do anything. White military members just got to decide that we get to test how bad syphilis is on this group of people that are in our service because they're not us.
Yeah, the U.S. has quite a history with the African American population and health, especially when it comes to health administration, giving them bad vaccines, wrong vaccines.
It's the thing. I love it because, like, here's the thing is, you talk to some people about like, oh hey, so you don't like the fact that they're taking down all these statues because of racism and shit. Yeah, man, we need to remember our history. Okay, what about supporting the racial history of like learning about the other side and how they feel about things.
That's critical race theory.
Yeah, critical race theory. There we go. Like when you're like, what about critical race theory? Nah, I need that to stay out. It's like,
Marxist, Leninist, Bidenist stuff.
How dare you?
I do want to get to the end of this video because it's very mask off at one
Keep this
point.
legacy alive.
If you
pass it on to the next generation of pilots, so they can pass it on to that kid looking up right now, dreaming of their turn to defend these skies. The day they pin those wings,
I had a lot of Marine Corps dress blue stuff growing up.
Our lives. Then we broke them in half and gave a piece to someone we love. Because when your job is responding to threats around the world, it means you're usually somewhere other than home. So when we are, we make it count.
Has an Air
There are
Has
some
an Air
who
Force
think we're all the
pilot really
same.
been in danger
It's obvious
since
they've never walked a flight line.
Desert
We're as different as
Steel,
the birds we fly.
flying over
Bombers,
Baghdad?
fighters, the heavies,
Or an F-16
even
was actually
planes
taken
without a
down?
cockpit.
I can't think of another
We take
hostile
pride in
engagement
that,
with a
and we
with
make
a
sure to let each other know
aircraft
it
since
every
then.
chance we get.
Nah,
But make
use
no
drones
mistake,
now.
That's true,
we're
yeah.
all brothers and sisters, wingmen till the end. In a fight, we have each other's back, or else we're not coming home. So if you see us walking around base with our sleeves rolled up, acting like we're invincible, that
Missiles
kind of
are fired
confidence
so
comes with the
far
job.
away with tracking and
We
smart
put our lives on the line
guided
defending our
ships.
freedoms,
They're
testing new aircraft, and training
and
new
most
pilots.
nations
We
don't
turn
have
everyday citizens into our
standing Air
nation's
Forces
sword
nearly the
and
size
shield.
of ours.
Yeah.
To even
We've logged more
pose
flight
a
hours
threat
than we
to
can count, and paid
us.
the price
So like
to be the
Yarby
best.
said with Vietnam, there really
Because
wasn't
of
much
that training,
dogfighting
because of the
we
bond
just
we
shot
share,
missiles.
because of the battles we've fought. This Air Force is second to none. Up there, we don't fear anything. Fear is what we instill in the enemy every time we're wheels up.
We don't fear anything except for aliens.
weren't
Now that we
born
said
with
that out loud.
wings.
we don't fear anything. Fear is what we instill.
Yeah.
Maybe the most mask off accurate slogan for the Air Force.
Gotcha, bitch.
Isn't that the FBI definition of terrorism?
Yeah. Dude.
After, was it 3 minutes and 14 seconds of face off just masturbation with weaponry and ordnance being dropped, we instill fear.
Yeah. My favorite thing is where they're like, and then that little boy who looks up to his father, and then he's gonna follow in his footsteps in the Air Force. Like, what the fuck? You're trying to make a whole like generation upon generations of just like, what the fuck is wrong with you, man? Like,
Yeah, we want him to look up and want to be like his father, while kids in the Middle East want it to be a cloudy day so drones don't fly.
Yeah.
Yep. True story.
Yeah,
story.
that was the line that I really wanted to get to.
Yeah, I think that's my I'm gonna tap out on the ads and the glorification of U.S. war efforts.
Yeah.
Right.
They always skip over Vietnam. I always notice that. Like there's like we don't want to mention that.
No, there was that one from that animated cartoon. It was just civil unrest.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, they mentioned it. Civil unrest. Yeah. Civil unrest.
Civil.
All right.
So,
well,
on that note.
Yeah, thank everyone for joining us. We will be back on a little later tonight with the FPS Friday stream.
That is at 8:30 p.m. Eastern, so in half an hour. Check it out here. Yeah.
So please stick around if you can. Please subscribe, hit that notification, and you'll get a notification when it comes back up. If you're not able to stick around.
Well,
but yeah, any other final words?
Thanks for joining.
Yeah.
Drink water. Yarby, drink water.
Yeah, drink water.
I've been drinking water this whole stream.
I know.
I got a slushy. I'm not in the military anymore.
Oh, nice.
Nice.
All right. Take care, everyone.
Good
Have
night.
a good rest of your nights.